Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? High Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
Starting with some sad news here. And by the way, I want to address something. We did not mention the death of Michelle Trachtenberg, who passed away. And she was omnipresent in a lot of things that I watched growing up. So that was an oversight, but we did not mention the death of her.
The Oscars didn't either.
The Oscars didn't either. We'll talk about that in a second. But Angie Stone, somebody who we really know, who was a fixture in music since the late 70s, passed away in a car crash early Saturday morning, about 5 a.m. Angie Stone, amazing voice, amazing talent, long career in the business. So rest in peace to Angie Stone.
Yeah, I just want to say Angie Stone and so many others that were so influential in neo soul and the rise of that was around, and I know a lot of people can relate to this. Angie Stone for me really represents a coming of age time for me. High school, I was learning so much about myself. I was starting to get so much more curious, and part of that was the music that I was starting to listen to, and that included Angie Stone. I feel like she was part of the soundtrack of my teenage years. And she just represented so much, not just music, even like the things that the song Brother alone, a Black woman praising Black men, the video, all the cameos that were in it. If you go back and you listen to the lyrics of the song, just the way that she honored, we joke about gender wars and stuff like that. And it seems sometimes we're so against one another, but then you look at that song that came out in the early 2000s and it was such a unifying moment. And I feel like that is what Angie Stone represented. So rest in peace to Angie Stone.
Also, her career went through many different iterations. She's part of the sequence early on.
Another group too, I think.
Then stays in the business, through her voice and through her talent, and actually starts to find success as a solo artist later on in her career. So shout out to Angie Stone. As a matter of fact, let's take a little break. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other things from the Oscars on the other side of this.
All right, we teased it. Let's get into it. The Oscars was last night. What were you guys' takeaway from the ceremonies, award winners, and whatnot?
Best Picture, Honora. Best Director, Sean Baker, Honora. Best Actor, Adrian Brody, The Brutalist. Best Actress, Mikey Madison, Honora. Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Best Documentary Feature, No Other Land. Controversial for a lot of people. Good.
That was the controversial thing for a lot of people, you thought?
It was controversial for a lot of people who have...
Best Actress was controversial.
Well, they're controversial for two different reasons. One was controversial for political reasons. The other one was controversial because of how people felt about them wanting Demi Moore to win. Ceremony was good. What'd you think about everything?
I actually watched it from start to finish. Feel like I haven't done that since the Chris Rock, Will Smith incident.
Oh, wow.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because, one, the opening scene was just incredible. I was expecting something with Wicked, but just seeing Ariana and Cynthia Erivo both do Somewhere Over the Rainbow, then Cynthia Erivo doing Home, then them coming together to do Defying Gravity. It was magical. I loved it. I loved every part of it. I also just really enjoy watching some of the lesser known categories and seeing the passion from those people who are winning. Like everybody's waiting for Best Picture and Best Director and Best Actor and Actress and all of that. But I loved watching the person who won for live animation or for, editing with Sean Baker. But I just really loved listening to the speeches. This year, I really enjoyed the speeches. And I also thought Conan did a good job.
He did a great job. I do want to point out that there was a call to action from the winners for Best Documentary Feature, which was No Other Land. And I want to play that audio right now as they spoke a little bit about what continues to go on over in the Middle East.
It's such a big honor for the four of us and everybody supported us for this documentary. About 2 months ago, I became a father, and my hope to my daughter that she will not have to live the same life I'm living now, always always fearing settlers' violence, home demolitions, and forest spill displacements that my community, Masafriyatta, is living and facing every day under the Israeli occupation. No other land reflect the harsh reality that we have been enduring for decades and still persist as we call on the world to take serious actions to stop the injustice and to stop the ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people.
We made this film, Palestinians and Israelis, because together our voices are stronger. We see each other. The atrocious destruction of Gaza and its people, which must end. The Israeli hostages brutally taken in the crime of October 7th, which must be freed. When I look at Basel, I see my brother, but we are unequal. We live in a regime where I am free under civilian law, and Basel is under military laws that destroy his life and he cannot control. There is a different path, a political solution without ethnic supremacy, with national rights for both of our people. And I have to say, as I am here, the foreign policy in this country is helping to block this path.
So the movie was made, like I said, it's about goings on in the West Bank. The movie was made by a joint Israeli and Palestinian production team. When I said the goings on in the Middle East earlier, I want to make sure that I'm talking about the genocide and proposed ethnic cleansing, the actual ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from Gaza, and also the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in the West Bank in the form of settlements and settler violence. There are those who did not stand when the movie won Best Documentary. I judge you, but no one will judge you as harshly as history will. All right. There was something else so I enjoyed Conan, but there is something that got people a little mad at me on Twitter about it. Conan made a joke.
He made a lot. Which joke?
He made a joke, played a joke. Donnie right here played a joke, and then we'll talk about it.
Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a pedophile. Don't worry, I'm lawyered up.
I laughed.
Okay.
I laughed during that moment.
Okay, I laughed too.
Okay.
The joke is funny. First of all, I want to say something. There are a lot of people that when I said, hey, I thought that was whack, because I did think it was whack, all right?
Why?
I thought it was whack because, and I think I'm wrong, and let me tell you how I'm wrong, okay? This is how I look at rap beefs. I look at rap beefs as essentially fights at the family reunion. Like, we're a big cultural family, and we got fights at the family reunion where one person is fighting with somebody else. Cool. One person getting jokes off. Hey, and the jokes, the fights at the family reunion aren't always above board. They're not always decent. Sometimes you see two people fighting at the family reunion and it's like, well, we all know that baby ain't yours. Ooh. And everybody is saying stuff that people have whispered about, but it's not supposed to be said. People haven't liked each other for decades. It's coming to a head, blah, blah, blah. Fights at the family reunion. Sometimes these people speak again. Sometimes they never speak again. Right? And when I look at it like that, I always think it's kind of an R thing. The Super Bowl.
I was just about to say.
I get it. The Super Bowl is a performance of that, but it's still coming from Kendrick. It still is Kendrick making these kinds of assertions and these kinds of jokes and these kinds of observations just in a different form, but it's still coming from him. It will be like a fight at the family reunion, like spilling through as we talking in school or we talking at work in mixed company. This seemed like, to me, somebody outside of it mainstreaming it. This felt like an away game. And the reason why I said it was whack is because I'm looking at it like, it just felt off.
I think it felt off to you because it was Conan,
Right.
who's very white.
Yeah.
And it was at the Oscars, which mainly is about movies and doesn't have anything to do with music. Not that doesn't, but mainly is about movies and particularly not beefs. The only reason I will disagree with you is I agree what you're saying about rap beefs, because most of them are kept within the culture and it's something we talk about. This rap beef almost needs another name because the way that it has crossed over into so many different areas, everybody knows it, everybody's talking about it. It only seemed appropriate to me that he did make this type of reference. And I thought it showed the power of what Kendrick, to me, obviously wanted to accomplish, which was to obliterate Drake in every aspect of it, not just with the beef. So maybe we need another name for it.
Right, okay.
Because I agree with you to a point.
Here's the thing. Number one, like, I get why I'm not somebody that subscribes to the idea that Drake is not black. I do think that there are things about Drake that maybe the way he was reared culturally that don't align with our cultural perceptions. Drake's dad is a black guy from Memphis, okay? So I'm not somebody that subscribes to the thing that Drake is not black. I honestly did not realize how much people, and I said this on Twitter, took this rap beef to heart. I'm going to admit wrongness right here. This is by far the biggest cultural moment to me that I can remember in hip hop. It feels like right now that this is not a rap beef. And maybe I've said this before, maybe other people have said this before. It feels like a lot of people are viewing this as a fight for the soul of hip hop. So they want Drake so in the dirt. I looked at it as Kendrick put belt to ass on Drake. That happened. Kendrick put belt to ass on Drake. Other people have gotten belt to ass put to them in rap beefs, and it's moved on. Like, people want this to be the end of Drake in a very distinct way.
They do.
And I never really looked at it that way. I looked at a lot of shit that Drake has done as being corny. I looked at a lot of shit that Drake has done as inviting this type of criticism from people. But, like, the animus is something from both sides. The animus is something I kind of didn't expect was going to last and be as deep as it is right now.
No, I didn't think it was going to last. But I think when it happened, it wasn't just rap. It became American versus Canadian. It brought out a certain side of LA or like California, LA, because of the things that Drake said. It became light skin versus brown skin. It really became all these things,
all
though.
of that's fine. Because, like, that happens in rap beefs, right?
Okay.
It became something else, which I am going to admit I wasn't quite ready for. It became the good people versus the bad people, which is, I think, something that's new for even a rap beef. American versus Canadian is fine because you can get East Coast versus West Coast. Haves versus have-nots is fine because you can get rappers that's closer to the street versus commercial rappers. All of that, in some way, we've kind of seen before. This one became the people that are okay with grooming and pedophilia and being assholes like that against the people who are the good people. This became, if you are cool with Drake, I mean, that's Conan O'Brien standing on stage at the Oscars and putting pedophile with Drake's name. I get that it's in the record.
And then said, I'm lawyered up.
Like, I get that it's in the record. I get the lawyered up joke is above board. It's all above board. But I'm just like, damn, this is a real.
That's the thing.
Okay. But look, man, I'm telling y'all, I'm not going to talk about this no more. Y'all really taking the beef to heart. Y'all, Kendrick won the beef. Kendrick got the better records. The whole thing is a flawless victory. But I promise y'all, these niggas don't care about y'all the way y'all care about them. Okay? I promise y'all. Like, you just can't live your life for the failure of Drake or Kendrick for the next 5 years.
No.
Because some of them gonna have some number ones, some of them gonna have some pitfalls. Just, it don't make no sense to put these celebrities in this type of situation. It just don't.
It doesn't.
Demi Moore lost. What did you think? People wanted her to win.
I thought Demi, I mean, if y'all haven't seen The Substance, it is so good. And I love the themes of it all. And just, obviously, if you followed her career, just seeing her come back in this way. And to me, it was such a powerful and meaningful performance. I did not see Nora, so I cannot speak to that. I am going to watch it today because after watching the Oscars last night, I thought, wow, I should have seen this movie. But I understand how people thought. I think the momentum was behind her. But everyone was shocked that Michaela Madison won.
Mikey.
No, it's Michaela's a real name, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you thought I just...
Thought you just made that up.
No, it's Michaela. But
I apologize. But I have to be... I just apologize, guys. Okay.
I apologize. You're
I apologize.
right.
That's it. It's over. So y'all don't get mad. I apologize. That's one for Rach.
Another highlight, Zoe Saldana's speech was incredible. It was amazing. I said this a little earlier, but I just want to touch on it. I just truly am a person who's like, when you have a platform, use it for purpose. So I like when people take the opportunity to speak whatever they want to, power to truth, and talk about something that they're passionate about, whether it's related to the film, whether it's related to a moment in time, what we're going through right now. It's something personal. I really like that. I think movies, even though we all know I am not a big movie watcher, but movies are about perspective. They're meant to teach you. They're meant to challenge you, challenge thought. They're meant to bring people together. They're meant to bring awareness. And so when they win and then they take this opportunity to speak to those moments or call out injustices or whatever it may be, I love to see that. I really do. So I just want to honor that. A lot of talk about the Bond tribute, the Bond moment. What did you think? I didn't get it. I was like, are we up on 50 years? Is it, what are we honoring here?
The broccoli regimes.
Okay, so they sold it. They sold their interest. Okay. Fine. But
Bond to that meat.
I didn't understand that.
Okay.
And so I honestly didn't understand the tribute. But a lot of people particularly had a lot to say about Doja Cat.
Why?
They didn't like her performance.
I mean, maybe not.
I think people forget she sings as well.
I don't care about performances and stuff like that.
But it was we're talking about the Oscars.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fodder about it. People were,
I haven't seen
and I forget that she's a singer. So I actually thought it was cool that she flexed that muscle as well and shows how multi-talented she is. But a lot of people were talking about it.
A lot of people talking. Well, Donnie, a lot of people have been talking about something they wanted us to talk about. We're going to put a pin in that, but we have Mark Anthony Green, the director of Opus, that's about to join us.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel and him had a great conversation. I was there as well. If we're ever looking to add somebody to higher learning,
it's Mark Anthony.
It's Mark Anthony. But before we get to him, Donnie, let's do a little cleanup. Let's clean something up real quick. Get us into our nest.
Clean something up.
Let's do a little cleanup.
Don't set the tone in
that
way.
Let's do a little cleanup, Donnie.
The tone has been set. It looks like the lawsuit against Diddy and Jay-Z by a woman accusing them of raping her when she was 13 has been dropped. This happened a couple weeks ago, but we never fully got around to discussing it. We teased it a little bit last week. It's been dismissed with prejudice, meaning that she can't refile the suit. Diddy's attorney said that the suit being dropped is the first of many that will not hold up in a court of law. And Jay-Z is now suing Tony Busby, the lawyer for the plaintiff, for defamation. Your guys' thoughts on the latest revelations of the case.
Jay-Z says, I felt that Mr. Busby was placing a gun to my head that I either bow to his demands or endure personal and financial ruin. If that wasn't enough, the rapper also alleged he lost $20 million in sports and entertainment contracts due to the false accusations in Busby's lawsuits. So this case has been dropped with prejudice. And a couple of things. Number one, we were on vacation when the case was dropped. That's the first thing. We're on vacation when the case was dropped. But there is a very valid gripe that a lot of people had with this podcast and other places. And I worked at TMZ for a long time. And it's not even so much about the outlet as much as it is about the story. When these things get dropped and or adjudicated for the accused party, be they man, woman, white, black, whomever, it is rare that the fact that it has gone away or the fact that it has resolved itself in favor of the defendant is met both by the public
Agreed.
and by the media with the same fervor that the accusation or the filing is met. And we have a responsibility here to discuss the fact that an accusation was made against Jay-Z, particularly Jay-Z here. Diddy has had so many accusations that they're kind of like the wind at this point. But this was particularly notable because of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And this case was then dropped. And being fair to who we are and to everything, we should note that and talk about that.
Well, you're absolutely right. But also, we weren't trying to avoid it. It is something that happened 2 weeks ago, if not longer. And obviously, this is a topical podcast, so you move on. And it really wasn't until we got a lot of pushback from our listeners that were like, hey, you guys didn't cover it. And it's like, oh, yeah, that is something we should go back to specifically for the very reasons that you just stated. Wasn't trying to avoid it. I got called out a lot of it, which is why I took issue with the way that you set the tone for this entire podcast. You're joking. You better be. But a lot of our listeners are not. And I just want to say that when the suit was filed, what I'm not going to do, and y'all can get mad at me every single time, is not necessarily, and I think we've gotten better with this. I'm not going to pick a side, but I will use, it's very timely that we had Tarana Burke on the podcast, and I love that when she talked about believing all women, I am going to believe survivors. And I love the way that she phrased it about what that means is a thorough investigation has to be done, which I will give Jay-Z credit to. Not everybody has the ability to do that. They don't have the money, they don't have the power, they don't have the attention behind them to necessarily do that. It is a shame that we live in a country where you can just really file a lawsuit and it may be frivolous. And there are repercussions if you do file a frivolous lawsuit, and you can have recourse in other ways, as we're seeing Jay-Z do with the extortion suit that he filed and now the defamation case. But he also has the means and finances to do that. That is one of the problems I will say with our legal system, that you can just file and then it is up to the other side to prove that it is based on nothing, that it is meritless.
Would you prefer a system that's closer to what they have in the UK, where if you file a lawsuit and the lawsuit is meritless, then you have to pay the legal fees of the other party?
That happens here too.
Okay.
You have to, but again, your attorney, or you have to make that request to file for it.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily, Donnie looked this up for me. I don't know if that it's necessarily a request that has to be made. I think it's statute or a part of the law in the UK that if you file something and it doesn't go anywhere, then you're on the hook for legal fees and something like that.
That's not the law here.
Right.
For sure, that's not the law here. You don't, it doesn't just automatically happen if it is, because he dismissed this case, right? I was trying to find the actual dismissal to see if he had a basis for dismissing it or if he just dismissed it. But Tony Busby's obviously not going to say, hey, I filed a frivolous lawsuit dismissing this case. He's just going to dismiss it. But I say all that to say, it doesn't mean that I was rooting against Jay-Z, or we on this podcast were rooting against Jay-Z, or we believed the claims that were being made. We discuss what is in front of us and what is at issue. But Jay-Z did exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight back. I do believe that Jay-Z makes this claim that Tony Busby purposely added his name to the lawsuit because before he was listed as a letter, A or B, I can't remember. But he said that he listed him right at the start of the premiere of the Mufasa movie that his daughter was involved in, Blue Ivy, because it would get more attention or he'd be on the red carpet. And I do believe that that was the case. I think attorneys play those type of games to bring attention and to add pressure to make you settle. Shout out to Jay-Z for standing in his truth that he didn't do it and he didn't settle and he fought back. And, Tony Busby folded. But I wouldn't take back anything that I said because we
What
were
do you feel like you said that people took issue with?
the
I tell you what
biggest.
people thought that I was insinuating that Jay-Z was guilty when I said that everyone would rally around Jay-Z. No, I wasn't insinuating that he was guilty. What I was saying is what happened. Like
They did.
everyone would rally around Jay-Z in this situation because Jay-Z is not just very popular, he's very influential and important to hip hop culture and community.
Well,
So you were going to see radio stations, you were going to see media, you were going to see the way that things are covered. And also, can I say something else?
Please.
About that? People were going to rally around Jay-Z because this is counter to the reputation that he's had for a long time. So people are not going to believe this about him.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying. My conversation, what I was talking about was more for Tony Busby. Being that Tony Busby, if he is going to play this type of game, he's not playing it with Puff. He's playing it with someone who is really meaningful to people and who people are going to rally around, give the benefit of the doubt to, and turn around and go, Tony Busby, you better have your shit together. To me, something like this comes out, I look at it, I look at what's in the filing. This was always hard to believe, just to be honest with you.
No, absolutely.
This was always hard to believe.
Shut the fuck up. So I just automatically believe that
I'm Rachel fucking with you. No, you didn't.
But a lot of people are going to take what you say and run with it because they love to do that when I am talking about particularly a black man. But to your point, to what you're saying, I think it's even more.
I think people were mad about the lyrics.
I'm going to speak to that, but I just want to say to your point, what I thought made it even stronger and why it was important for you to say that is because we had just seen people do it with Diddy. When Cassie filed her lawsuit, Diddy said it's absolutely not true. People rallied around him. And then the video came out. And then it changed. So we are quick in humanity, society, culture, whatever you want to call it, to rally around the person who has been influential, who's been a public figure, who people admire for various reasons.
I don't think people really rallied around.
They did not believe Cassie. They may not have rallied around.
I don't think people rallied around.
Well, they dogged Cassie.
I think a lot of people dogged Cassie. There's always going to be some of that. But I think when the Puff stuff came out, I think there were a lot of people that went, I think that's somebody that's capable of all of that. Yeah. Just because of, think about some of the stuff Puff has been accused of in the past. Think about the stories that you heard. Think about going to somebody's house. And you know, Jay-Z had the situation with in the nightclub with the knife, all of that stuff, granted, right? But think about some of the stuff that you had heard about Puff and stuff that people had said about Puff. I don't think there were too many, not in the way that
nothing
they
close to what
Jay-Z.
Cassie was saying it was like, whoa, that was more detailed, brought in other people, long history. It was, it wasn't like a one-off thing of what some of the things we'd seen before. But back to your original thing, what I think people got on me the most about is I said that as a lawyer who is bringing this case, I think that one of the things that he would do is go back and search into Jay-Z lyrics and try to use that to paint Jay-Z as a certain person to attack his character. I still stand by that. I think that is a tactic that a lawyer would do. I'm not saying that I'm looking at it and believing it. Maybe the way I brought it to the table, people thought that, but that's not what I was saying. My purpose was they're going to do everything they can to try to paint Jay-Z a certain way to build up their case.
Right.
Yeah.
Look.
Well, it's done. Not for Tony Busby because he's got these defamation. The judge ruled certain statements are out, but certain statements are still in.
Tony
so
Busby
that's moving forward.
And so we'll see. Oh, I want to say something real quick. Something that happened that hasn't happened to me in a long time. We'll get to some more stuff here in a second. But so Rachel and I and Kalika and Willie. Okay. I'm just making sure. Is that okay?
Page 6 put out something.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Are they all up in your business? Mm-hmm. We went to the macro party. Now look, the macro party was great.
We had fun.
We had a lot of fun inside the macro party. Shout out to Macro. Macro is one of the most important companies making content, like greenlighting Black writers and directors' dreams in the city right now. Shout out to Charles and everything that they're doing over there. It's a great party. A lot of people in there. Saw a lot of friends. I got slammed.
Did you?
We got slammed. Getting into, I've been slammed in a long time. I don't know if people know what being slammed means. So it's because it's important. I'll tell a quick backstory here. When I first came out to LA, me and my brother Jabril went to a club. I was slammed at the door. Okay. I think this was Opera on Hollywood. We get there, and they're not gonna let us in this bitch. Jabril is somewhere laughing at this bitch right now because I wasn't aware of bottle service. Maybe I've told this story on the podcast.
No.
Before. I didn't know that bottle service existed. People are gonna like laugh at this, and maybe I was wrong, but like coming from Baton Rouge, I didn't know that bottle service was a thing.
That's interesting. Y'all have clubs?
We do have clubs. Let me tell you what happens in Baton Rouge clubs. I'm sure that there are bottles and tables, but I had never bought one.
Okay.
So this is like 2005, 2006. Like in Baton Rouge, you go to a club, at least when I was growing up, there were tables there. Like, and anybody could sit in them.
Mm-hmm.
And you would sit in them only when you weren't dancing. You sit in the club at the thing for a break.
Oh, wow.
That's why you sit there. And the dance floor and the bar is where the party is happening. You walk around, you walk around, you walk around. You spend so little time sitting, partying when I grew up, that I didn't spend all my time standing or sitting at a table. It wasn't a thing.
We were doing it back then.
There you go. So I didn't know what bottle service was. We get to the door, the dude's not gonna let us in. Jabril goes, hey, we'll buy a table. And I'm like, buy a table. Okay. And the guy goes, yeah, table's going, and this was the number. It's not very expensive. He's like, table's going for $500. I was like, nigga, what? Remember, this is before you got any bread. I was like, nigga, what? Are you crazy? Jabril pulls out his credit card. Remember, he's from Manhattan. At this point.
I didn't know that's where he was from.
Yeah, he had been living in Manhattan. He pulls out his credit card. He chose, I'm looking at this nigga like, nigga, you dumb. Oh, no $500. We go in there, we sit down, they bring all the liquor out. I don't know anything about this. Like, I promise you, the girls start coming to the table. I'm like, oh,
like a moth to the flame.
The whole thing, right? The whole nine, whatever. But then after that, I started playing basketball in the gym, and I met Devin Anderson. I met my man Milt. I met Sean Dickerson. I met Vic. I met all the guys, Mark Tung, Franz. I was hooping with them. I met all the guys from Made Entertainment. I've never had a problem in LA after that. And then TMZ happened, right?
Yeah.
I go to a place, I'm good. I'm at their table. These are my guys. Some of the nicest guys, unless you're trying to get in the club and you ain't up to par. Some of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, right? So I've never had problems. I would say since 2009, 2010, I had juice. And then after TMZ, you go places you get in. We got slammed outside of the macro party. Did we not?
Humbled
outside of the macro party before we got in.
But we shouldn't have been. There was the expectation was there. It's not like we tried to get in off the string.
No.
We have been able to do that before.
We have been able to.
Remember
the Oscar party?
Three years ago, we were like...
We pulled up to the party. With Oscar after party, we pulled up to the party and we brought 7 people in that bitch with us. So it's not like, but it was funny going back to the age of getting slammed because...
You handled it well.
Because it was fun. Because like, okay, so my manager who was with M88, shout out to Arunde Garrett, we sent his people out and they brought us in.
Because I need y'all to understand, they had as a client. This is why we thought this wouldn't be an issue. Okay?
I'm with Arunde under M88. So bring this out, boom, you have no problem. I knew that we'd eventually get in that bitch. But being slammed is funny because there's a whole narrative in being slammed. It's funny. First, you there, it's like it's a story. You get there and...
Tell them what they said. Because they were smart, okay? Macro's black-brown.
Black-brown.
They had a white publicity company at the door for this reason.
Well, it was a couple of different people there, but they didn't have
For this
nobody
reason.
that's gonna go, oh shit, I didn't recognize you from that. Come right in the door.
Smart.
They're doing a smaller party this year, the whole 9. Beautiful party at Macro. None of this has to do with our feeling about getting slammed. Okay. And I had talked to my management earlier in the day, and they were like, "Are you gonna be good?" And I was good. But it was funny. So this is the first thing. First act in the play is you're not on the list. That's the first act of the play.
And what does she say?
So I go up and I'm like, hey, Lathan, Van. And she goes, okay, Lathan. She goes, Sana?
See what I mean? They knew who to put at the door.
They go, Sana? And I'm like, no, not Sana. You're Lathan? I'm like, yeah. So you're Sana, Lathan? And I'm like, you're saying Sana. No, that's not me. I'm Van Lathan, +3. Yeah, no, that's not me. So you're not on that. That's the first emotion of getting slammed.
It's the worst feeling for your name not to be on a list when it's supposed to be.
It's the worst emotion of getting slammed, okay? The second act of getting slammed is people that you know walking in.
But first, to end Act 1, they said, we're going to need you to step inside and go back there, over there and wait, like cattle. We were in like...
There was a dungeon.
At least it was hidden.
There was a purgatory for the slammed people so that they wouldn't be on the street.
They said, you need to call somebody so they can let you in.
Let you in. By the way, everybody that was in the slammed people purgatory ended up getting in the party. I saw that inside. So everybody we all had a good time. So we went to the dungeon, right? Then, second act, Rachel is right. It's like, who can you call? You calling people you haven't talked to in a while, right? It's like, God damn, because you're trying to get in this bitch because you don't want people to see you getting slammed. I leave, I come outside, who do I see? Fucking Matt Barnes, fucking all of these other people. They walking in. That's the second act of slam humbling. The third act is the best part. By this time, I go over to my man Nick and his sister Ava DuVernay are on the other side. Ava is an actual celebrity. So I'm thinking maybe I can walk in
with the crew.
With Ava. Get Ava to walk in with us. I go over there, Nick's standing there. Third act of slammed. People behind the thing. And now you're in communication with security. And this is my favorite part of getting slammed. All right, big fella, look. Can't have you standing right here, though. Why don't you move off to the side? You gonna be good? Being moved by security away from the people who are actually getting into the club. Very important in getting slammed. Hey, man, we can't have nobody standing right here, okay? Hey, back up. I'm like, God damn. It's 2004 again. So then they move us over there, and I come back, and we now out of the overflow area, and I gotta come back to Kalika, Willie, and Rachel and tell them.
Because he was like, I got this. Ava's on Ava Nick there on the other side.
Ava
let me
Nick
go by myself. Let me handle this.
Like Ava's like us. Like we I'm gonna go over there good. We're good. I come back over there and I'm looking at them and I'm like, we might not get in this bitch. Like there's a chance that we're not going to the macro party. And by this time, you know, the cowboy hat, I almost started to take the hat off, but I was being defiant. The cowboy hat, people are walking by like, Van, what's up, Van? How you doing? Van, what's up? I'm like, what's good, nigga? The fuck? You got a +1? Like, we trying to get in this bitch. At least, can my friends go in? I'll take the fucking hit and go home. Slammed. I want to shout out my young G.
Harrison.
Shout out Harrison, who works with OG. Shout out Harrison from Macro.
Yeah.
Harrison comes over. He goes, oh, Van. This is the last part of Slammed. The relief.
The stages of being slammed.
The stages of being slammed. Harrison comes over. Van, wow. Wow, so happy to find you. I work with OG. Yeah, you're fine. You're good. Just stand here for 1 second. I'm going to come back. A lot of things are going on right now. People are getting in and stuff like that. You're good. You're good. I completely and totally got you. You're great. At this point, I'm 6 text messages in. Shout out to Swoop. I'm texting Swoop. I'm texting Nick. I'm texting whoever because I don't like the feeling of being slammed. Harrison comes over. And then it was probably about another 10?
10.
10 minutes before we were able to get in that bitch. But then I'm inside and it's all great.
It's all good. How long do you think we waited out loud? I mean,
30?
outside. You think it was that long?
Oh, it was.
I had to go to the it must have been because I had to go to the bathroom and I was like, sorry guys, I gotta try to run ahead and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So
yeah. But it was worth it. It was great.
It was a great party. Of all the parties you could go to on Oscar week, the macro party to me is by far the best one. It is so much love in the room, man. It's so much love in the room. You're seeing so many people. It's very amazing. I had not been slammed in a long time. I literally have been walking past places to where people have been like, hey, Van, come on in. Just come on in. Like, I got you set up. I got you set. But being slammed was fantastic.
It was macro party or the gold party, which clearly we're never going to get invited to.
Oh, no, that's out.
We're never. That's never happening for us.
I had somebody hit me up. Shout out. I'm not going to name it. It's like, Van, you at the gold party? Like, the gold party. I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I'll never be invited. All right. There are 2 more. We had a nice, long, robust. Pause. We had a great interview with Mark Anthony Green, who is the director of Opus, movie in theaters right now.
Gotta go see it
right now. I have to go see the movie. 2 things, a couple of leftovers we're going to touch on. We are going to touch on, definitely, some of the things surrounding what's going on politically, Zelensky in the Oval Office. We're going to touch on the tragedy that happened in Baton Rouge with the young man that passed away and lost his life at Southern University, my alma mater. I'm gathering more information about that. And Thursday, for Friday's podcast, I'm going to have what I believe to be a much better understanding of what's happening and what's going on there. Some people on the ground there are giving me some information. I might even have a big interview for you guys surrounding that case. That is a massive, unthinkable tragedy, avoidable tragedy, and we will be covering it here on Higher Learning and furthering the narrative of how to keep young Black men and women safe on HBCU campuses, on campuses everywhere. Little bit of a culture-heavy podcast this time. We'll give you some more politics and stuff on Thursday. We're going to get to our interview with Mark Anthony Green, the director of Opus, right now. All right, let's get into it. You guys, Oscars were yesterday, and we are blessed enough to have a filmmaker in our presence right now who has a brand new movie out right now. The filmmaker's name is Mark Anthony Green. The movie is Opus, which we saw. What a cast in Opus.
I know.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, what a cast. This is your debut movie.
Yeah.
And you were able to secure, hold on for a second. Let's look at the cast. You guys gotta go see Opus.
Do it.
You got Ayo, John Malkovich. By the way, Ayo, if you're listening to this, it's his first name. That's how you're to that point, sister.
Yeah.
You say Ayo and we know.
I think she might need to just drop the last name and go full, seal.
Bro, I'm fucking with that.
Yeah.
I just, the talent is there.
The talent's crazy.
I don't know that the ego is there. She's too cool for that, but
I love to hear that, though.
Sure.
She seems so
that.
nice.
She seems that way, so I love that that's really the case. Yeah,
Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
Murray Bartlett. Now, you might not recognize the name, but let me tell you something.
I love Murray Bartlett.
White Lotus season 1.
The best.
The Last of Us. I just watched White Lotus season 1 not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's fantastic. Amber Midthunder.
Legend.
Real legend.
Real legend.
Legend. And the music, Nile Rodgers and The Dream.
Yeah.
The story.
You missed some folks.
Okay, tell me out.
Tony Hale.
Okay, yep.
A real legend. We have, I won't give away the cameos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't give away any of that
Stephanie Suganami, who's like, we called her Rookie of the Year. But this is like her first big role, but she absolutely kills it. And then a bunch of actors that live in New Mexico, like, I won't give them away either. But the cast could have been better.
Lots of surprises in the movie.
Thank you.
Like, I talked to the resident movie experts here at The Ringer, Amanda Dobbins and Sean Finney.
Yeah.
And they told me their overall thoughts about the movie, but they didn't tell me about the twists or some of the surprises or anything like that. Before we get into the film itself, which I enjoyed.
Thank you.
This is your first movie.
Yeah.
You're coming your first feature. You're coming from being a GQ writer.
Yep.
So tell people a little bit about your journey from writing for print and with GQ and all of that stuff to being a film director.
I mean, I think people want there to be like a strong, sorry, I keep hitting the mic, y'all. But there's like a strong correlation connection, but there really isn't. Like, and I don't want to just lie because it's convenient. Like, I always wanted to be a writer. I always wanted to make films since The Fifth Element came out. I watched The Fifth Element with my...
Multipass.
Yeah. I just, as a kid, I was like, holy shit, this is the most...
Corbin, my man?
Man, what? Or like the casting in that movie with like the mixed Black women with the freckles as the stewardesses, or you know, what's his in the unitard, Chris Tucker. Well, I'm trying to think of his character. Ruben.
What the name of the character was? Ruby
Rod. Yeah,
Ruby Rod.
Ruby Rod.
Yeah. And Corbin Dallas.
Yeah, Corbin. But like, I just looked at that, and again, I was young. This is that weird thing where I was so young, I had never seen Die Hard. I had never seen like the movies that people
Your first Bruce Willis was The Fifth Element. I wonder how that changes things.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's one of those where like, if you don't see, people didn't really like that movie like that. But if you didn't see all of the other movies and you're a kid, you're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen before in my entire life. And then when I was 19, I entered into GQ. I was writing for them in school. I went to Morehouse and was a terrible student, but I was writing for GQ and Fader and Spin magazine, RIP to Spin, and a bunch of other joints. And then when I graduated, was a writer at GQ. I started working on Opus 6 years ago. I made my first short 8 years ago. So for me, this doesn't feel like this has been the thing I've been working on for, almost a decade. But I think because I was doing profiles and stuff, to some people, they're like, oh, you jump from this to this, but it's not really how it feels.
Is that where the idea, because it's such an interesting concept and the way that you tackle it. And I'm wondering if doing features at GQ is kind of how you developed this idea to do this story in this way and go into some of these themes.
The honest answer is no.
Okay.
But what it did do is it helped me, Opus is not about being a writer in a magazine. It's not about media. But no more than like He Got Game is about basketball. But the basketball in He Got Game is very authentic. And that was Spike's intention, right? To make a basketball film that had real basketball in it. So I was able to make sure that like, it looked right, the dynamic was right, down to the little details. But the film itself is really about tribalism. And that, I think, is something that GQ editor or not, we all kind of have a front row seat to, unfortunately.
Talk to us about tribalism a little bit. Like, what are your thoughts on it? I like it.
I think you like tribalism. Yeah, you're tight.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
Tribalism to me, I think I know why you like it. I think that the tight thing about being an artist is you don't have to have the answers. So I don't pretend or posture like I have the answers. I wanted to make a film that was extremely fun, first and foremost. Then I wanted to make a film that was fun enough that hopefully we would have a conversation after and talk and to feel your way through it, which has been happening, which has been like, I'm 36. In my 36 years, I think this has been like the honor of a lifetime to have that idea, to see it all the way through, and then to see people have those debates and those conversations. Like, it's a deeply emotional feeling. But I promise the movie's very fun. And tribalism to me, it's like we've hit this all-time high of, my guy is bigger than your guy. If you like my guy, then you can do no wrong. If you dislike my guy, then you can do no right. And we are at this, and it's a global pandemic. This is not just an American thing, though. Holy shit, it is America riddled with it. But I think it's taken a lot of intelligent discourse away. I think it's taken a lot of safeness, originality, individualism, provocative thought. I think that it's kind of eroding society. So I chose a pop star and pop music, and even crafted the film like a pop record to feel good, because that felt like a way to bring us to the table, and to have a big cast. To A24 have been great partners, like to make this thing feel, despite the fact that we shot it in 19 days and didn't have
It's crazy.
no director has as much money as they want to have, but we wanted it to feel desirable and glitzy, so that people would come to it, so that hopefully they'd have this conversation.
You say you had a front row seat to it, unfortunately,
Yeah,
when you were
you do
working
too,
it.
though. I think.
Okay.
I think we
Why do-
all do.
Well,
Because to me, it's bigger than just entertainment, right? Like,
agreed.
I think that one thing that I love about this pod, you talked about Sean and Amanda, and two people I love, but like, you guys come in here, I don't know, twice a week. How often do you? Twice a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm locked in. And so y'all come in here twice a week, and I feel like, you pop shit. You say what you genuinely think, what you genuinely feel. And I think, whether I disagree with you or not, because of the place it's coming from, I do think that not only do I become a more interesting, thoughtful person, but I think everything becomes more interesting and thoughtful. But shout out to whoever created this I guess Bill. But like, there are very few.
It was him.
Yeah, shout out to Bill. Very few places where I feel like
he did it out of guilt from growing up in Boston.
Well, he'll never get over that. Yeah, you'll never get over that. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just think that I think we're going the wrong direction. And I do think things are getting worse.
Now, let me ask you something. When I say that I enjoy tribalism, what do you think that I mean by that?
I thought that you meant like, well, first of all, you're a young Black man from Louisiana, and you wear that on your sleeve. So there is, words are vast and have multiple meanings. And so there's a type of tribalism that's like, I take where I'm from and who I am with me.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah.
What I was criticizing is more, which I know I again, participate in the thing y'all make. So I know that you don't do this, at least professionally. I don't know Van personally. So Van
This
does
is our
some
first
wild
time
shit.
meeting.
Yeah, Van does some wild shit.
I do
in the
a lot of
future.
wild
I can't
shit.
stand on that. Yeah, I can't stand on that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of people with their arms around people in photos, and you like, I'm just messing with you.
Hey, can I be real with you?
Yeah.
See that right there?
Uh-huh.
He just hit on something.
Tell me.
This is why I don't take a
just
lot
talked
of
about
photos
this.
No, it's real.
with famous
yeah.
people.
It's very real.
Okay? Like, I took one photo. If you guys look, we go a lot of places. I know a lot of people. But if you look, the only pictures you'll see up on my shit is a couple pictures. One with my actual friends, Cord, Tommy, all of those people.
Yeah.
And then I had to take this picture with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh, yeah, you did do that
Well, there's
recently.
certain people you go down with the shit.
Yeah.
I took a picture with Sidney Poitier. He's the only person I've ever asked for a photo. And I'm like, if Sidney Poitier get in trouble,
If they find out some shit about him, I gotta live with it.
I'll stand on it.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll stand on it.
You know what I'm saying? It's fucking raising the sun. I
Yeah.
gotta live.
But see, but you know what we gotta do? We gotta start doing the Keanu. You see the way he takes photos with the hands straight?
With the hands straight?
The hands straight.
We have to come up with this.
Been
What
a
we come up
lot
with.
of.
We'll come
If
up
you
with something.
see that, that's like us being like, I didn't ask for this. Pic.
Exactly. We do this. We'll do it like, hey, we take a picture like this.
Yeah,
this means
this, like, hey,
I
we
gotta
in the
get into
picture,
that,
yeah,
but I don't know
do
this
that.
nigga.
yeah. Somebody RSVP'd me. I was in the neighborhood. I showed up.
Every
cool.
picture, we just came up with some new shit. Every picture you see me, I'm gonna start taking celebrity pictures, but I don't know this nigga.
We don't know.
It's a good
You
picture.
don't know what's going on.
I enjoyed the thing that he did. I don't know this nigga.
There's a lot of people in that Epstein doc that just went to a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look,
now you in
it's
the
very
doc.
true.
Imagine this.
That's tough.
Very true.
Imagine somebody comes to you
Chris
and goes,
Tucker.
hey man, we say we're going to the Maldives. We can't go. Fuck, why? Why can't we go to the Maldives? We can't go because our plane got fucked up. And there's no flights going there right now. We're gonna go. Cool. Couple hours, somebody calls you. Hey, I found a plane. Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy who has a plane. This plane, for some reason, is like going to Thailand a lot, and like, and like we can actually use the plane.
Yeah.
For real, it's like are you serious? Yeah, we can use the plane. You get on the plane, you go to the Maldives, you have fun, you come back. Next thing you know, you on Satan's plane.
Yeah,
it can happen to you.
Before you know, you're getting a photo release from Netflix.
Right.
I would definitely be on the plane.
Yeah, like what?
Nigga, did you just say you would definitely be on Epstein's
No,
plane?
not Epstein. See, you're putting words. No. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
I think
you're
we should
putting
add
words.
Mark to the
You're putting
podcast.
words.
This is going really well.
That would be wonderful.
This is going really well.
I don't like this tag team.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is,
Whoa.
I can be so gullible sometimes that I'm
I get it.
sure, let's just. This is great.
Yeah, you don't assume that, but I will say anyone who owns a plane, I'm suspicious of. Yeah. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Not that you're instantly bad, because we all would love to own. I actually wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. That level of wealth, I'm sure, is cool. But if you own a plane, it's definitely one of these, unless we really know one of these.
So I was gonna say this, and we'll come back to the movie in a second. I believe in tribes, but I also, as much as I believe in tribes, because I think that there's safety in tribe a lot, I also believe in treaties, which I don't think that people believe in anymore. And when I say I believe in treaties, this is what I mean. To me, a treaty is the most, I think we make a million small treaties in society all the time. Even the decision to wear deodorant is just, hey, I don't want to offend you. These are little small things that we do to make living amongst each other easier and more palatable.
Yeah.
I think that the problem that I get to is not about your tribe. It's about when you it's about the supremacy that comes from that.
Yes.
When you refuse to make small, incremental concessions to people in order to live in better societies with them.
I would even say where we've gotten, I love that point. Not only are we not even willing to make those concessions, we are no longer allowing space for you to do your thing.
Right.
Despite the fact that it does not change. It's not a concession. It doesn't affect my shit at all. And I think that it is through like logistical things, advances in technology, whatever, it has become so much easier to attack somebody.
Yeah.
It has become so much easier to galvanize for good
and
reasons.
Low leverage too, because you never have to see it.
100%. And for bad reasons. So it's like, I think that, what James Baldwin said, love has never been a popular movement. And I think that not to get here in like the first 5 minutes of the pod and be like, we need to love each other more. But there is like a thing that's missing. And I think I made this film because it felt like we were going in the wrong direction. And though I started it 6 years ago, the best case scenario would have been that this thesis that I had would be irrelevant 3 years after I started it, or less relevant. And it became more and more and more and more and fucking more relevant. And I hope that my grandest hope with the film is that people will watch it and they had a good enough time to where they don't run away from each other, but will at least talk to. I overheard somebody, my like dream is you're in the bathroom after the movie and you talk with the stranger about it. And I saw it happen at the Egyptian and I almost cried in the bathroom.
That's amazing.
I was like, movies.
That's it. Movies.
What did they say?
They were like, it was funny. They you both have seen the film.
Yes.
Okay, so
but the audience might not have, so don't give
you might
I don't
not
want to
have
give
seen the
anything away.
film. Oh man. I think I'd give it away.
Give it away.
Long
don't
story
say it.
short, they talked about, is that possible? And why the end happened, the ending. I don't think it's like a spoiler to be like, the ending is something happens at the end. Yeah, like you signed up for that. But and they had the conversation and then they introduced themselves to each other. And I like had, sorry, this might be TMI, but I was at the urinal, at finished peeing, and I was just standing there because I didn't want to turn around and they'd be like, oh, you made it. You introduced it. And then I just was standing there.
There you go. Oh.
It's just one of those moments. Shout out to the Egyptian.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that for you. I'm so glad that you got
Yeah,
that.
it was cool. I hope I get it like 2 million more times.
There you go.
That's
I'm
the
sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will. For sure. Okay, I know we keep talking about tribalism and all of that, but I have one more thing. What you said you're a fan of it for whatever reason. Do you think you said you like tribes? Do you think that it's a problem that we have too many tribes? Like there's too many and it adds to some of the problem, right? There's so and then I would say that if you do believe that there's too many and you do believe that it's a problem, what do you think adds to it? Like I would say, for example, we have access to so many different things. There's so many different communities that we build that there's so many different tribes, which adds to the reason why we're not making space for each other.
Mm. I don't think there's too many. I know you're directing him. I don't think there's too many.
For everybody, yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's like I'm a member of many tribes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a filmmaker, so there's that. But what I think is interesting is when you're a member of two tribes that are warring.
That's the very
Like
interesting thing.
Chappelle had that joke where he was like,
Blacks and Asians?
Nope. And
he did have that joke though.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
He's had, yeah. He had a joke when I didn't watch Seinfeld, but the guy, what's the Michael Richards? Is his name?
Kramer.
Yeah.
Kramer.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up
Michael
and he
Richards,
says, nigga, and he like, and so Chappelle's joke, which you should never repeat a comedian's joke, but he was like, man, as a black man, I was really hurt and offended. But as a comic, I was like, damn, nigga, that's a bad set.
Yeah.
Hang in there, Kramer. You know what I mean? And you're like, and I think it's way easier to hold space for the other side when you belong to both. Because you can sympathize, empathize. You could do both. And you're like, yeah, I get it. And I can see both sides. I think it's the lack of seeing the other perspective or even being open to the fact that there is another perspective.
Yeah.
That is the problem. But I think tribes are great. It's very human. It's community. 100%.
So I want to ask you a question. I was having a conversation with someone. I mentioned that Ayo was in this movie. And they were, first of all, talking about how fortunate you were to be able to get her to be in the movie, to be able to work with her because she's just so smoking hot in her career right now.
Yeah.
She's at that level where people are clamoring and waiting for the next thing that she does and so super interested in her trajectory. And they were trying to figure out who she was. It was just an interesting conversation. They were like, is she the black Meg Ryan? Is she the black this? Is she the black that? Is she? And it was just like, and I was listening to the convo, and I don't know why, but I was offended.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, you should have been.
She was like, oh, she's a black Meg Ryan. No, she's more like the black Julia Roberts. No, she's more like the black this. She can do comedy and stuff like that. And I was like, I was offended.
You should.
Why did that offend me?
I know.
What?
One, I think it's offensive. Because if she were not a black woman, they would be like, oh, maybe she's the next Blaine. But in a world where we're open, people compare Timothée Chalamet to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I'm a huge fan of Timmy's on and off the field. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, you like him.
I like him. I like what he's about. I like when he's popping shit. I like when he's got that
It's getting real
shit on. I understand. And I think it's an acquired taste. And I'm pro Timmy Tribe.
Yeah.
And I leave space for you to be. I'll leave space for you to be on the line. And if you go onto the other side, I'm here for you and I'll leave space for that.
Justin Timberlake 2011.
No.
To where
he's not there.
Justin Timberlake 2011. Till we like, all right, we still fucking with you.
Absolutely
I remember,
not
you know when I first started to get like
not even close.
Justin Timberlake on Suit and Tie looked at Jay-Z and went, "Get out your seat, Hove." I was like, "Get out your seat."
Okay.
I was like, get out your seat.
That's not
like you make you asking Jay-Z to get out his seat. Nigga, you get out your seat.
Yeah.
So Timmy,
but I think we give Timmy space to be Timmy, and the conversation isn't so much, okay, I need to know he is the next white whatever. You're just like, he can be his own thing. And because this isn't a surprise, but Hollywood is such an unimaginative arena. That when when people put you in a box so that they can understand it, then you have to break out of the box. I think Ayo is talented enough to do that I also think that a lot of those comparisons are too small for her. So then you're like, not only did you feel like you had to put this very talented artist in a box, but like, I never hear people compare her to Ben Affleck.
Mm.
Ben Affleck, Argo won Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think Ayo is going to be an incredible director. I think she is incredible. But like, I think she'll make films in that way. And then she'll go and work with a David Fincher and make a, smash. And then she'll, whatever. So, and then do some shit that Ben Affleck's never done. They also both from Boston, just trying to help people out.
There you go.
But I don't know that we need that. Sometimes it's like who would you compare Frank Ocean to?
Right.
And we don't feel like we need to do that in music, right? But we feel like we have to do that in film. And I just think it's lazy.
And I hate it because I feel like, to your first point when you said it, we do it with Blackness. I think when you start
100%.
having the conversation of who would you compare her to, then you should realize, well, you're doing that because she's doing something so remarkable. Maybe she just stands alone by herself.
100%.
Maybe she just is the thing. Why wouldn't that be the conversation? Were these your friends?
These are people I know.
Well, Van's rich. So when you hang out with rich people.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, Van's rich.
I mean, the reality is, look, I'll be honest with you. The conversation that I was having, I'm like the place. I am the guy that literally sometimes people go, okay, here comes Van. Because when you say something like that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I shouldn't be talking like that.
Yeah. No,
I don't mind being that guy. I'm gonna be like, when you say that, I'm gonna be like, honestly, I think doing this is part of the reason why we don't have more where Black film penetration doesn't go deep.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think that you look for places to pigeonhole people. I think this is bad. And then we got a conversation. The conversation doesn't offend me, though.
Your superpower is that you'll say the thing that we all say. You'll say the thing in private that people say they say in public.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, I think, we all not only appreciate about you, but we know that you're out here running around.
But I ruined that conversation, though.
Yeah,
I did. Everybody was having a nice time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like that.
But you also made them
terrible
think.
dinner guest.
Yeah,
Hopefully the next time someone has that conversation, they think, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Because I think that happens way too often. And she's so different in what I love to watch her.
Yeah.
Ayo.
Ayo?
Ayo.
Did I say Ayo?
Mm-hmm.
The reason, I'm going to be honest with you, the reason I didn't correct you, because I've been correcting, but the reason I didn't correct you is because my family, we were switching that out.
Right.
And I'm like, you get to a point where you're like, I know and it's just like a muscle memory thing that you're working through. If the person has the muscle memory thing that they're battling through, then it's like, cool. Then if I don't correct people on my name is Mark Anthony, it's not Mark.
Oh, I said Mark.
That's all right. That's all right. I was
did it.
really offended.
You know what? It's
and
crazy.
I almost
want
walked
to
out.
talk about something about name correcting. So I was with Aldous Hodge on Friday night. We were at Pips on La Brea just eating wings.
Yeah.
People coming over, taking pictures with him. And
he's rich.
He's rich. He's rich.
Van is rich.
No, that's not. I've been knowing him. But what I'm saying is,
been rich.
What I'm saying is, with him, I asked him, I was like, I heard, Ben told me that I've been saying your name wrong. And this is literally what happens. Ben told me I've been saying your name wrong. Why didn't you ever correct me? He went. That was it. He went whatever. But I give somebody credit. I saw Speedy. You know Speedy?
Yes.
Mormon.
Speedy Mormon.
Great interviewer.
I called Speedy Norman. I saw him walking across the street in New Orleans. I called him up. I was like, hey, bro, blah, blah, blah. I was like, we had never met before, but we knew each other in that parasocial way. You know each other. I said, Speedy Norman. He went, Mormon. I was like, right, Speedy a little nigga, but he was big. You know what I'm saying? Like Speedy went, correct me. I appreciated it. I was like, it don't mean nothing if you don't.
Can I say also though,
what?
Speedy Norman sounds like you would get a joke off on him. And I know you weren't.
I
know, and he
It
knows you
probably
weren't.
happened
But like,
before.
if we were like making fun of him again, I think Speedy's. I'm not making fun of Speedy. I think he's
Speedy's
very
super
talented. Yeah, he's
talented.
very talented. But like, that's like what you would call, like in high school, it'd be like Speedy Norman.
Speedy is like, he was like Mormon. I was like, oh
yeah.
wow. Let's get back to the movie real quick.
Yeah.
So this is your first feature.
Yeah.
For a director that's having his first feature, there's going to be a big premiere. There's going to be a big hullabaloo. There's going to be a big deal, hopefully. What is your hope I know that there's a specific hope that you have for the movie artistically.
Yeah.
But as a director who's getting into the game, having your first feature, what's the career hope from it outside just like the overall success of the movie? This is my first movie. What do I want it to say?
I think that if I'm not answering your question, correct me, but I had so much fun when I made this short. I went into debt making the short. I damn near went into debt making Opus, but I went into debt making the short, and I never had that much fun. It was the most stressful thing in the world. You hear this and you're like, oh, there are people that you find out most people, you find out, is this really what you want to do? Because if you don't want to be a director, this is not really what is going to make you wake up in the morning. I think every director would recommend don't do it, because it's an unhealthy profession. You've heard directors talk about that more openly, where you're like, this is deeply lonely field. Most directors get divorced 5 and 6 times.
One guy told me, if you don't start out as one, it will turn you into an asshole.
Oh.
Be careful.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
He said, one guy told me, he was like, think about, this is a very high profile director.
Yeah.
He was like, think about being in charge of so many different things, wearing so many different hats.
Yeah.
And all you want to do is tell a story. He's like, what happens is you start getting to a point to where it gets difficult not to direct things in your life, to talk to people super bluntly about what you need, and and he's like, the biggest thing I have to do as a director is sometimes just tell people to deal with it. And and he goes, in on a set, you have to get to where you're going, but he goes, in life, that's the last thing you want to. He's like, I had to pull back.
He sounds like he needs a black woman in his life. He's not. I assume he's not married to.
That's something to pass.
Yeah.
But anyway, to your point,
I'm saying, so like, for me, the biggest win is to make the next one as quickly as possible. I wake up every day. Last night I missed the Oscars because I'm working on the next thing. Like, I didn't go to, the parties and didn't watch I watched the clips. But I'm saying, like, that to me it's the work. And then the reception is, I don't think you should make anything that's public that you put out if you don't have like an intention for it. So there's an intention there, but it isn't the purpose of, it's not why I wake up in the morning.
Right.
It's the best job in the world for me. And nothing has made me feel more challenged. Like, it checks all my curiosities. Like, So for me, I always have one foot there until I'm there, and then both feet are there. And everything else is like, I hope I'm doing a good interview, but there's part of me that is working on the next thing.
Van makes you a co-host.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a great interview.
I feel like he says that to everybody. That's how
No,
I
he
take it.
doesn't.
No.
Not true.
I don't know if you said
You
it
didn't
at all
say
before.
It's not true at all.
No, yeah, you definitely don't say that. But in doing your research, which I'm sure a lot of research went into making this film, was there like a particular cult that you looked at to build this one that we see? And was there a particular person maybe that you also built this off of that, people would jump ship for?
For me, the religion part was so important to have, but I hated the research. because one, I'm not a hyper religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but not a hyper religious person. And then, but I believe in religion, especially where we're from. Religion, especially to Black people, it is such an important service that, like, anything that felt like it was punching at religion as an institution or an idea, I just don't want to ever do that. So, but then I'm reading all of these cults and Bibles and manifestos and prophecies and all this shit to just kind of like get the language and to find ideas and so like I just hated that. It felt like I was putting something bad in my body. So that part of it I disliked. I wrote the Meditations of Level. There's a cult in the film and they're called Level and they're levelists. And so I wrote a full uh you know text basically so that when I made decisions I knew what they would do.
Mm.
But I didn't give it to anyone because it felt I just didn't want that in the world.
Somebody might
That's
have been
wild.
like, somebody
You
might have
created a
been like,
religion.
I created a religion for this movie that will never go beyond the movie.
you don't know that, nigga.
I know. I mean, it won't go past the movie.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, it literally, just the way things go.
Is that that's scary?
Literally, 60 years from now, somebody could be digging through the ash and the rubble of what used to be LA, right? And I'm just being for real. Or they going through movies.
Should I like burn it or something?
Maybe.
Whatever.
Maybe.
And then they find out, and
Delete
they could. That's shit like that happens all the time.
Maybe.
You don't know that. Good job.
Right. Yeah. Well, I want. I don't. If find this podcast and that, and be like, please, I don't want that in the world. That is not my.
I want to ask you one more question. So, I have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it to some different movies. You tell me what you think. So I saw The Brutalist.
Yeah.
I watched it. 3 hours and 40 minutes of a laugh riot. I've seen Nomadland.
Yeah.
And I watched Anora.
Yeah.
Seen all that. I watched all the movies from this year. Some of the movies are very direct. They're about something. The Substance is about something. Conclave about something. Dune 2 about something. Wicked about something. But then there's another type of movie that's routinely awarded. And it's a slice of life stuff not really going on, but kind of people just existing, look at life movie.
Yeah.
Those are your Nomadlands. Those are your Brutalists.
Yep.
To agree, that's Anora. Movies like that about Black people are never celebrated. Just 4 days, and just one of them days is a movie that kind of gets to that. I love that film and like what it was able to do. It's very funny. I'm so glad that it's having success. But when I think about films that are awarded to that level with us, the struggle of race, the struggle of socio-political angst, biopics.
Yeah.
But when I watched The Brutalist, I marveled at just how The Brutalist isn't really about anything other than the lead character. It's not, when I watch Nomadland, I always marvel. I want to see movies with Black people roaming.
Yeah.
Just being.
Yeah.
Just, when I say you don't even have to have any reference that they're Black. Just people that happen to be Black doing stuff.
Yeah.
They do make some of those movies. I'm not going to say they don't make any of them. But why is it
very rare though?
Very rare.
Yeah.
Like, why is it hard for that movie to exist?
Oh, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So, couple things. And I have a really counterintuitive take on this that I'm really glad to share here with y'all, because I feel like this is the home of Black counterintuitiveness.
That's what we do.
In making Opus, it was very important to me that Ariel be a Black woman. It was important to me that she never do something stupid. She never fall when she's being chased. She's never runs into the room with the boogeyman. She never has a gun and then puts it down. Like those tropes, right? And the song, the first song is by Parliament Funkadelics. The last song is by TV on the Radio. Lenny Kravitz makes a cameo. There's like Nile Rodgers and Dream did. There's a black music. My cinematographer's black. Macro is a producer on it. It's a very black movie.
Oh, Macro's a producer.
Yeah. But it is not about the black experience. There is a lot of black taste in the film. There is a lot of blackness in the film. And my POV as a black man, I couldn't, if the way I drink that bottle of water is black.
Yeah.
Right? So, to me, it is a black movie. Straight up. Now, it is very hard for Hollywood, because people are so unimaginative, to see a black person in their office pitching a movie and that bias not come out. There are many conversations. Again, I've been working on Opus for 6 years. It existed before A24. It existed before we had talent attached, and trying to figure that out. There are definitely conversations that were like, we'll make the reason she isn't writing for this magazine, make that a racial dynamic. And then it gives it a purpose instead of a conversation about tribalism. Here's the counterintuitive take. And it's a logistical thing. So it's a bit like, Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois had that famous debate. Sorry, I promise I'm going somewhere. And basically, W.B. Du Bois was like, long-term, talented 10 theory, right? Talented Negro, we got to whatever. And Booker T. Washington was like, we need to have trades. You need to eat today. We need to feed people today, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is more of a long lead thought. If we continue to fight for white filmmakers to not be able to make movies about race, even if they brick it, a la Green Book, a movie that felt like, we all kind of commonly agreed that they missed the mark on the racial dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we fight for them to do that, then those filmmakers get to make movies about love and power and about The Brutalist, which I really loved as a film.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at your slate, you're like, cool, well, we can't only make movies about love and power and whatever. We want to make a movie about race.
Mm-hmm.
And so you only greenlight, as we're making less and less movies. In fighting for that thing, you're not going to push the Christopher Nolans of the world. He kind of is in his own category. He can go do whatever he wants to do, and he should. Love Christopher Nolan. Also, Bill Simmons not liking Interstellar was crazy, and I appreciate you for calling him out.
Madman.
It's absolutely the wrong take, Bill. You know that I love you, but holy shit, what a terrible
Got
opinion.
Celtics all jammed up in his brain.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy
That's
madman.
Crazy take.
Insane.
But like, until Hollywood fixes the who's in those rooms, I want to shout out a person. I don't know this person at all, but like Alana Mayo at Orion.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Nickel Boys was one of the best films of the year. I thought it was brilliant. But like, until there are more execs that are in power that can see a more nuanced, thoughtful film with Black people in it, or see a movie like Boomerang, where like everyone in that movie is Black.
Got nothing to do with...
It has nothing to do... Critics hated that movie. Boomerang, I think still, it's the crazy rotten... Like, watch Boomerang right now. If you have not seen that movie, which you should have seen that movie by now, but like, that movie's incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is extremely
Mo Better
funny.
Blues, nothing to do about being Black.
So I'm
beautiful
saying
Black people doing their beautiful Black thing.
These movies exist, but when just the logistics of putting a slate together, if you take away certain things and you're like, well, only if you're saying to, let's say you were a filmmaker, this Black woman, you can only make a movie about Black women and the Black woman experience that I, as a white person, understand as a Black woman experience, then you're just limiting this person.
Yeah.
I understand the want for, Steven Spielberg to not make The Color Purple in 2025, right? Like, I understand that, where you're like, that should go to a Black filmmaker. Totally understand that. I just think that the conversation, if we want those types of films, we have to be okay with pushing for, one, we have to make more movies. We have to go see Black movies, like one of them days. Like, I think we showed up, people saw that, it made money. If it makes money, that filmmaker will get to make another movie. Keke Palmer's opportunities will get bigger and better. Issa's a force. She's going to continue to kill it. Everybody wins, right? So that's the first step. But then I think we have to be open to
We
those.
can't gatekeep race as a subject that only Black filmmakers can talk about.
It's like we can, but then this is the short term. This is the Booker T. Washington argument. We can, but if we do, it is exponentially harder. So I'm saying it not as a moral thought. I'm saying it as a thought of strategy. As a thought of strategy, if you want the Van Lathens of the world, controversial, Black, thoughtful, provocative, to make something that is different, and I can only make 5 movies that year, or some of these big studios are making 3 movies, or let's say you're making 10 movies, but 6 of those people are wearing capes in them. If we're going to do that, which we love, I truly do love, really, I'm saying if you're doing that, then any limitation, even if it's one that I want to see, even if it's one that I think is beautiful, a limitation is a limitation. And so it's a really, really tough thing. And I think that I feel tremendously honored to make this film, to show it to people, for it to be in theaters, to make it with a studio that really believes in me and continues to believe in me, to make it with actors that are incredible, that believe in me and went on that journey with me. But there's nothing I've ever done that is harder than this. I've been homeless. It wasn't as like, you kind of have like just a handful of problems to figure out when you got no place to sleep and you try and figure out it. This was how hard it is to make a film. It is the reason why I'm sure that person, one of the reasons why, like, you turn into an asshole, because you're like, everything in life is hard. Nothing is easy. And so it's already the hardest art form to do because of how much money it takes, because of the commerce requirement. Holy shit. Do not limit Black creatives. Maybe that's my thesis. Sorry if that's a long way of saying it. But like,
I thought that was a deeply thought-provoking answer. To be honest with you, it's actually something I've never considered. My skin crawls when I see the Green Book directed by... but I've never considered the other side of it. I've never considered how the constraints that might put on us as creators. I've never considered it that way.
It's a logistical thing. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying that white people should make the Green Book, or that they should make Black Panther or movies about Black Panthers. I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm simply acknowledging the logistics of a film slate and how in the short term, in the next 10 years, I don't see that changing. I don't think there's going to be an influx of people that go to the movies to where now Paramount and all these places, they're going to make 50, 60 movies a year so that they can make Black Brutalists. I don't think that's going to happen. And so when you're doing that, it's a 2 thing. Do not limit Black creatives, and understand that the more you tell David Fincher that he can't make a movie about X, Y, and Z, that he's going to get to make Brutalists. He's going to get to make this big thing, the big idea. And again, Opus, we didn't spend a ton of money on the movie. So there was a freedom in that, right? And I feel very lucky about that. Places like A24 that invest in weird filmmakers that go and do a thing that feels like it works against the grain of traditional Hollywood standard. I think that they're single-handedly companies like that are single-handedly saving the art form, you know? But it's a tough conversation. And again, I watched Green Book. I think Mahershala is a national treasure. Um, there are parts of the film that are amazing, but I could feel that. And I felt so not betrayed by the film, but I felt like I could never recommend that sincerely because you could feel them not understand the racial dynamic. And then you find out the way that they kind of misportrayed the actual black man. This is a true story about a genius.
Yeah.
I can't fuck with that. So, like, again, I get it, but, you know, I think Booker T would make this argument. That's all that I'm just bringing up on the pod. We're just podding.
No,
I don't know what the fuck's
it's
going
great. It just made me wonder, and I don't know who was, obviously a black person didn't direct Green Book, but I wonder how many black voices were influential in the making of this, and maybe that's the middle ground.
I gotta say that is what, and you can tell one of the reasons you're successful is because that is an immediate solution. That is a smart solution. As a director, I think like 99% of us love this thing because you are the captain of the ship. And I do think that it would be really interesting. You know what I thought was an interesting conversation about this? And I might be getting myself in trouble, but you know, we're here to have a conversation. When in Licorice Pizza, when the guy at the restaurant, he was clearly being racist and people like call PTA out for that. And I saw their side of it, right? Where they're like, why is this in the movie?
There's no way that Rachel's ever seen Licorice Pizza.
I know about it.
Okay. So
that's the one with the Heim sister, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rachel,
There you go. There you go. Swing back.
Thank you.
There you go, Rachel. So when it happened, I was like, oh, okay, I see that side of it. Another side of it is white people do racist shit. To tell a white filmmaker who now it needs to make movies with white people, because if it's a black story, they shouldn't, right? So now your cast are going to look whiter and whiter, which is again, I'm not saying that's what we're asking for, but we're giving Hollywood the excuse, right? So Mark Anthony is going to work with black actors and PTA is going to work with white actors, right? So if you're going to do that and you have a movie with a bunch of white people, you mean to tell me that all these white people gathered and no one said anything racist? I don't believe that. I think it's his job, actually, to portray. If that many white people gather and they didn't say anything racist, I think your movie's flawed.
Yeah.
Now, does it make me feel good as a person who loves people to see someone be racist in a movie? No. But I do think that's the point. If he celebrated that character, then it's like, PTA, what are you doing? PTA goes home to a strong black woman every day. I think he understood what he was doing. Now, whether it was successful for you or not, that's an individual opinion, or, you know, successful artistically, cool. But I don't know. I'm like, they didn't say nothing racist in making the atomic bomb? And
Oh, they said some racist shit.
Nigga count. How many?
Oh, when they were saying it, it probably wasn't. So it probably only like 500 niggas, I would say. But the other word for our Asian brothers and sisters, 25, 30, 40, 50,000.
There was no.
It went, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I'm not saying.
If you put that in Oppenheimer, it changes the movie.
It changes the movie. And I'm not arguing for it. Again, we potty. We're having a conversation.
Right, if you put that in Oppenheimer, because they still had to kill 500,000 people, and that's not even fucking.
And I want to be very clear. I'm not arguing for that. I'm simply saying that
Oppenheimer, the racist.
Yeah. But like, I don't believe, and I'm from, you know, maybe this is whatever. I don't believe that in closed doors, you could have that many people gather, that many white people gather, and they don't say something that is racist. I just don't believe that.
Mm.
So I think we got to be careful. Also, the inverse of that is if you do not show racism in your film, but you have, we're talking about everything else, and it's an American film and it's all white, that to me starts to feel like propaganda. Because we know that's not what it really is.
Yeah.
So if we start to take that out of film, I don't know, will that warp the perception of how we genuinely deal with race in this country? And is that making this place better? Again, I don't have the answers. I'm just here to.
Well, you got a movie. The movie is called Opus.
Please go see it. It's great. Super fun. I hope y'all enjoy it.
In theaters right now?
In theaters right now.
In theaters right now. Mark Anthony Green.
Man, it was great to meet y'all.
Thank you for joining us on Higher Learning, my
this
brother.
This was great.
And in person. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome, man. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Sean, good recommend.
Yeah, it's my guy.
Peace. All right. Take thinking caps off, but do not stop learning. I am Van Lathan Jr.
And I'm Rachel and Lindsay. Bye, guys.
Said Angie B, hey, that's me. I can rock so dangerously. You gotta do